question online, and the question was, what is the toughest stage for you as a salesperson? I figured I'd put a video series together for you. I'm Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California, on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you. Now, I've ridden with enough salespeople to know that the intro stage for some salespeople is the toughest part. And if they go to do in-home sales or they're walking up to a buyer, that initial first couple of seconds for some salespeople freaks them out of their mind. They're cool with the rest of the sales process, but the introduction is really difficult. Now, if you go through and you look at the math and you look at the studies that people decide if they like you in the first 3 or 4 seconds, this means that you're going to have to be prepared for it. This means that you're going to have to practice your introduction over and over and over again. Now, I got a good friend, Chris, and in 2006, I would work with Chris every single morning to do the door approach when we were heating air conditioning technicians, and for an hour, we would practice our door approach. And people would come and work with us, and they would say, why are you guys faking it? This isn't what you do. We would literally walk up. We had an office we went to. We would knock on the door. He would knock on the door, he would give his presentation, then I would knock on the door and I'd give my presentation. And it took about 2 or 3 minutes, and so in the space of an hour, we would probably go 10, 15, 20 times each and have this conversation over and over and over again to get that presentation down so it was automatic. So that no matter what happened, no matter how strange the situation was going on, that's what went down. So I'm gonna give you some sales advice, a sales strategy, a sales technique for you to close more deals. Practice your first 2 to 3 minutes of your introduction, because once you have that down, that person's made their decision. People make first impressions quickly, and you can create your own sales sabotage if you haven't thought about this. You're like, hey Scott, does it really matter that much? Absolutely. We live in a society where we look and we're like, yes, no, that quick. Is that right? Probably not, right? Social says don't do that, but we really do. We look around and we're like, don't like them or we do like them. And if they don't like you, what's going to happen is they're not going to pay attention to you. They're going to give you some wacky objection at the end of the call, like, I want to think about it. I'm still getting other bids. I'm talking to other people. Your price is too high. And what the real thing is they didn't like you for whatever reason, right? You really, that first 3 to 10 seconds of an introduction really do matter. That first 3 minutes of your presentation really do matter. The way that you act, the way that you interact, the things that you say, the things that you don't say, your awareness of social space. All those things add up. So people say, what's the toughest phase of the sales stage? I put introduction first because so many salespeople struggle with this. I went on a sales call one time. I'm going to tell you a story. And I go, and the guy's driving, and we get to the house because he was doing in-home sales, and he is sitting there white-knuckled, on, and his hands are on the driving, the steering wheel, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, I'm scared out of my mind. I'm like, of what? And he goes, I'm scared to go on this call. I'm like, dude, and I had to get him pumped up. Like, everything's going to be okay. You got a good trainer with you. You got somebody who knows what they're doing. Everything's going to be all right. And it took me about 6 minutes. I timed it, 6 minutes to get him out of the car to go knock on the door. The whole meantime, the people were kind of like waiting by the window. Are you going to come up to the door or not, right? And so just know that there's a math formula that people are doing in their heads when they're buying, and they're like, feelings and emotions, that's going to be up there one. That guy freaks me out. That girl freaks me out. I don't know what to do. Right? For some people, the introduction scares them. Find a buddy, find a friend, practice your first 2.5 minutes of your introduction, the first 5 minutes over and over and over again, so that it's super easy for you to go through, right? There you go. You got one thing to do from here, just one thing. Find the subscribe button and click on it. Every time I send out a video, you'll get an update that says Scott Bell Consultant sent out a video. You should check it out, which you should. We'll see you soon.